So I had a conversation today about digital advertising and as it equates to leads. So, I mean, you can quantify soft conversions and hard conversions. You can track them. There's Google Analytics. You can see the funnel, the marketing funnel, customers working their way down the marketing funnel themselves based on how many soft conversions, the hard conversions, which sources they're shopping at, things like that. But if you want to quantify digital advertising in the form of leads, how many leads does this get me? You're really, I don't know what the nicest way to say this is. That's not what digital advertising does. So then your next natural question might be, well, then why should I do it? Well, turn it off. Turn all of your digital advertising off. Turn it off for a month and see what happens to your overall traffic. Not willing to take that chance? Now you know what digital advertising does. Digital advertising drives traffic, whether it be phone, form lead, virtual retailing tool, or foot traffic into your store for sales and service. That's what digital advertising does. You can quantify it by the amount of soft conversions, hard conversions, and yes, some leads, calls, chats, texts, virtual retail tool completions, things like that. But digital advertising should never be considered a sole and solitary lead driver. That is not what it's meant to do at all. So if you're a marketing director and you're having that conversation with your GMs of your stores, hey, well, we're not getting as many leads. If you want to go back to buying traditional leads from third-party sources at $30 to $36 per lead with a 3% close rate, have at it. Good luck. Have at it, Haas. Shut off all your digital advertising and run down that rabbit hole. You'll be the last ones that are doing that. But let me tell you what your competition is doing. Your competition is getting leaner on their digital advertising. They're getting more efficient on their digital advertising. What I mean by that is they're not putting up a model campaign for every single model they have in stock. They're not depending solely 100% on PMAX to guide their brand campaigns down the right, their customers down the right paths. They're leaning into vehicle ads. They are using PMAX for brand campaigns. They are using PMAX for some like collision center or fixed ops campaigns. But the trying to game the system to push leads, and I've seen this before, stores want to switch over their bid strategy to max conversions, and that's going to get us more leads. And no, what that's going to do is make your traffic fall off a cliff, and it's probably going to tank your results overall. Not only that, but you can't control the CPC on and the daily amount spends with any level of consistency or accuracy. So I had one store we did this with, and her CPC on one campaign went up to $86 per click. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. Not kidding. So the strategies to keep in place, trying to game Google, trying to game the Google Ads system, that's just not going to work. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Vehicle ads using PMAX, that's the way to go. That's the way to go right now. Now, this might change in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, it might even change. But for right now, the way to go is vehicle ads for new and used. And then if you have some models of focus, I would pick one primary model of focus to do a VA campaign on separately. Omit them from your new vehicle ads campaign. And then I would do brand and regional, service, of course. If you have money to do a CPO campaign, that would be also something I would look at as far as utilizing PMAX with the brand campaign, utilizing PMAX with the CPO campaign. And then I would pick 3 other models that are high priority vehicles in your inventory, and I would probably try PMAX on them. Try it. See if it works for your geography. See if it works for your brand. Now, I'll say this with a caveat. If you're at a brand that doesn't have a lot of well-known nameplates, and this is no offense to these brands whatsoever, but name me all of the models that Mitsubishi sells. Name me all of the models that Cadillac or that Buick sell. A lot of the nameplates, GMC, I mean, what is it, the Yukon? That's pretty much the nameplate that people name. I'm not trying to bag on those brands. What I am saying is people don't generally, if they're shopping for a car with loyalty at an all-time low right now, people don't generally know the name of those models of vehicles to type in the model to even look for it. So how do you combat that? That's where you have SUV or sedan or truck campaign labeled that way, utilizing PMAX. Now you can actually incorporate some of those model terms to actually feed into like a longer tail keyword search, a phrase match or something like that. That you really need to kind of work towards whatever your manufacturer is. Now, if you're at a Ford store, their models are pretty well known. You know, F-150, Mustang, even the Maverick has gotten a really good nameplate. Ford's done a really good job at tier 1 and levels of making those nameplates. F-150's been the #1 selling vehicle for like 50 years for a reason. People will search the name F-150. People will search the name Camry. People will search the name Kia Soul or Sportage or, you know, something. Those are the more well-known nameplates. So keep that in mind when you're pushing out nameplate vehicles that actually have that branding behind it at the tier 1 level, as opposed to other brands. If you work for one of the other brands that don't have a highly recognized nameplate, then you might want to lean into sedan, truck, SUV, and go down that route, layering in PMAX to see if that actually helps drive some more traffic to your site. But back to square one. Stop thinking of DigAd as a lead provider. It is not a lead provider. We are not a lead driver. That's not what we do. Now, we do push traffic to your website. Then it's incumbent upon you to have a better mousetrap, for lack of a better word. So to have your VP set up in a way, and I've talked about this in a previous video, that caters to every type of shopper, whether they want to click to call, click to chat, fill out a form lead, start a virtual retailing tool, digital retailing tool, application, anything like that. So it's not 100% incumbent upon your digital advertising provider to be able to get you leads or get you conversions. It's also incumbent upon your, like I said, you or your website provider to make sure that mousetrap is built in a way that caters to every type of shopper. So I've repeated it twice. I'm hoping that the cheap seats heard it. That's the full scope and picture of how you capture that business. And you really need to evaluate the steps on what you're doing at the website and dealership level to capture that lead and subsequently that sale before you look back at your DigAd provider and say, hey, you're not giving us enough leads. Because generally speaking, even a semi-halfway decent digital advertiser will drive traffic to your website. But the matter of capturing it in the form of a lead, phone call, anything like that, hard conversion, that's more on you than it is on them. So take it with a grain of salt. That's all I got for this week. Happy selling.